And you found us, ever since my basic platform has switched software, and it's confusing. It's not as intuitive. And so we sometimes, if we're not exactly on there, yesterday we had our show, and today we have our show. Professor Dan's going to be with us in a bit. It's a big day because we're wondering, is there going to be a shutdown? Is there not going to be a shutdown? There is a plan C. Axios reporting, yes, there is a plan C. So we'll talk about plan C and what that means and if that's a good deal. And the Republicans aren't going to press on that debt ceiling. And so who knows if it's going to get enough votes, but they're going to rely on Democrats. So we'll talk about that. We're also going to talk about yesterday, the perp walk of Luigi Mangione. I don't think murder is such a great thing. Assassination, no, that's not the way. So I don't honor Luigi, and I don't make him into Saint Luigi. But I think he has done something that a lot of people have not been able to do, and that is get people to understand how the healthcare system works in America. And he has really opened the eyes of people who've been just sort of like going along, but not getting any kind of relief, right? The people who should be loud and complaining, they've just sort of, gone along with things. And then he's gotten, the CEOs to understand that, they're not communicating. And he's also gotten the legislature to understand that, something's got to be done. Maybe Bernie Sanders was right, Medicare for all. So we'll talk about that. The perp walk, which that was the perp walk to end all perp walks. As far as the shutdown goes, the big issue today is, does the United States have a puppet president? Oh, I'm not talking about Biden. I'm talking about President-elect Donald Trump. Is he the puppet president? Because Elon Musk seems to be calling the shots over there. So we'll talk about all that and more holiday stuff. I want to talk about the Dubs. Did you see that game yesterday? The Warriors lost by 51 points. I think this is a good thing to lose by. This is called humility. You need a sense of humility. Nothing like the holidays to give you a sense of humility. So all that's important. And we'll talk about other things as they come up, because things come up when I talk to my good friend, Professor Daniel Phil Gonzalez, Professor Emeritus, as opposed to Emerita, which would make him a trans professor, I guess. I noticed that when they talked about Nancy Pelosi, they called her Speaker Emerita Pelosi, and I said, when did she change her name? Isn't it still Nancy? No, Emerita, that's the feminine form of emeritus. And if we only spoke Latin in America, then we'd know that, but we don't. Anyway, so Professor Emeritus Daniel Phil Gonzalez, College of Ethnic Studies, Asian American Studies. We bring him on because we can, and because we don't have to put him on a scooter or a walker or anything like that. He's with us. He's there. Professor Dan.
Oh, hey. Hello.
How are you?
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Good Friday afternoon. I feel freed from the mall scene.
Yes. You went to the mall, huh?
Went to a couple of malls.
Yeah. And not to Serramonte, right?
Well, we went to Lower Serramonte. There's two sides of the freeway, right? There's 280 bisects Upper Serramonte and Lower Serramonte. Upper Serramonte is absolutely nuts, just as Stonestown is right now, which is closest to us. And we live less than 2 miles from Stonestown.
And you're talking about not just the two San Francisco area malls, but the two San Francisco area malls where you're likely to find Filipinos and Asian Americans.
They are probably the most Asian American malls in the area. I would say.
Yeah. And so you were not in Uber Serramonte, but in Lower Serramonte.
Yes, that is correct.
So I know that area, even though
Of course you
I'm in
do.
the I'm in the valley now, but I imagine they must be kind of crazed, right?
Yeah, yeah. If you're tactical, and you think about who what who is shopping and what they are shopping
Yeah.
for, you can make tactical decisions about which mall you choose to work in.
Oh,
And the Upper Serramonte Mall is like malls across America,
yeah,
right? It's got all of the same companies with the same kind of
yeah,
stores, and that's what most people shop for.
yeah.
And we are kind of counter that. I look for, like, I'm not going to spend $50 to get an Adidas labeled sweatshirt when I could get a sweatshirt that works perfectly fine for one half of that, or sometimes even one third of that.
Wow.
So
Bar-
I don't do that.
Bargain shop.
We're not branders. Yeah, we're not. If we do that, it's because it was on a super sale and we got it at like 95%
Yeah.
off.
See, that's why I like shopping on the streets of New York, because you can buy the knockoffs even cheaper
Yeah,
than you get it at lower St. Mark.
absolutely.
Cheaper.
That is so cool. I know one of the first things that anybody should do is you get off the freaking plane, you catch your Uber or your limo or whatever you take into the city, and you head directly to
Oh
Chinatown.
yeah, Chinatown.
You know,
Chinatown's the
so
best.
you get something to eat, and then you go look at the
Yeah.
knockoffs.
You don't need a
And
real.
you don't bring luggage. You don't bring any luggage, right? You bring maybe just your
Yeah,
necessities,
yeah,
right? That's it. Your laptop, your necessities, your phone, that kind of
yeah,
stuff. And then you land there and you say, okay, I'm gonna pick up whatever clothing I'm not
yeah,
on. I don't have on
yeah.
right now. I'm gonna pick up a little bit of clothing and I'm gonna pick up some new
New
bags.
bags. Yeah,
That's it.
you get a new knockoff LV bag. No one knows the difference.
Right.
At
You can get a
third the
Vuitton.
price. Yeah.
You can get any. You can get Coach.
Yeah.
You could get.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not Coach, not Coach, but Coach.
Yeah, you can get YSL. You can get any of that stuff, and they're good
Oh
knockoffs.
yeah, yeah.
They're not crappy
Nothing but,
knockoffs.
well, it's New
Yeah.
York. It's New York. New York, the knockoff city. Well, so and so Merry Christmas. So you're in a festive mood. That's good.
Well, yeah, mostly because I have a cocktail right
Yeah,
here.
yeah. And there's no cocktail for me. No cocktail.
Yeah,
But
and I'm using the mezcal that you were kind enough to give me for my
of
birthday,
course.
which was
Yeah.
very nice.
Well, look,
Yeah, that's
but Dan, you deserve that. You deserve the mezcal. It said it was poison. So I guess that was a metaphor. You're still living.
it said it was illegal.
Illegal. Oh, illegal.
The brand is illegal.
Illegal.
It wasn't poison, it was illegal. And I thought, are they picking it? Are they picking this? Is this Kathy's
No,
humor?
no, no,
Like,
no, no.
yeah,
No,
that's
we wish you no ill. We wish you no ill. So
well, no. I thought it's not about ill. It's about
yeah,
sarcasm.
oh yeah. Well, yeah,
It's
sarcasm.
illegal.
Sar-
It's illegal, and we look illegal. I have a T-shirt that says "I only look
yeah,
illegal."
it's true.
Yeah.
Well, it dawned on me that was really the problem that I had ever since birth. That my father was the immigrant. I was born here, but I only look like the immigrant. I only look illegal. I only look like I'm undocumented. Unfortunately. Because if I were undocumented, boy, I could ride that story. I could ride that story to great fame. Hey, so
We could write that story even though we are legal.
fantasy.
I mean, we still write that
Yeah.
story. I'm working on one right now that's kind of interesting. It's about American racism in in living in the Philippines.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the self racism is the big. It's
I'm actually talking about white people in the
oh
Philippines practicing racism against not only Filipinos but all of the other Orientals.
so the white people who are there as visitors, or do they have some?
No, the visitors are usually not bad. They just they some of them at the worst try to speak Tagalog or something
Yeah,
else. And I heard a conversation behind me the last time we were
yeah.
there. A woman says, "Oh yeah, our maid, who comes in once every 2 weeks, she cleaning lady, she taught us how to say thank you, and it's salami or something like that." That's what she
Yeah,
said.
this is it's funny because when I was in New York last, I was walking around on the Upper East Side, And I did notice a lot of nannies, and the nannies tended to be
Yeah.
Filipino. And
Yeah.
it kind of shocked.
And well
Yeah.
educated. They're well educated
Yeah.
too.
And it reminded me of going to a party not long ago in San Francisco, and I was the only Filipino in this white party, and the help at the party was Filipino.
Well, guess
And
what?
yeah, and but they were like the live-ins. So they were
Oh,
recent immigrants who were living in, and they had a cush job, and they didn't want me to blow their. I mean, I was trying to be, the thing is,
ethnic. You were trying
I
to be
wasn't trying to
ethnic.
be ethnic, but the fact is, I am more friendly with those people who are working at
Yeah,
the
of course.
party than the people who are
Of
at the
course.
party.
Of
I had
course.
one thing in common with the people at the party. It wasn't enough to start a conversation that would last maybe 30 seconds. But these Filipinos, I wanted to talk to, and they just kept shooing me away. Get away. You're going to blow our cover. Get away. Then go mingle with the white people. Get away. Get away.
Maybe they saw your show, man. It might have been personal.
Well, I might include.
The dude, you got to work on your accent,
I might
man.
include this in my next show. Go get away. What are you doing here? I'm serving. I'm the servant. Go. Oh, by the way, Mr. Jones, that Filipino, is he on the guest list? Or should he be sent home? Should he be sent home to? Should we deport
No,
him?
man.
Oh, you want me to call
Yeah.
ICE? I have ICE on my rapid dial. Oh, ICE, come quick.
We were at the United. Well, they don't have them anymore, but they had Polaris lounges, and this is for
Yes.
the upper crust, right? And
Polaris.
so we had a couple hours layover, and we got to use the Polaris lounge. We had some pull with actually the manager of one of the Polaris lounges worldwide, and so he telephoned or texted ahead and said, yeah, these folks are coming, so let them in. But we're hanging out, and the place is like 80% Filipinos, right? And the first rule is United and Polaris have a rule, and that rule is you speak English only on the floor. So if you're behind the bar or if you're working, the floor, you speak English only. We get in there, and I'm hearing two languages from the Filipinos. One of them's Ilocano, and the other one's Tagalog, right? And I can understand both of them, not real well. I can't speak them, except comically. And I was cracking up. I was saying, well, there goes that rule. That's gone.
Yeah.
But the reason that they were able to do that is because they have some sense of power.
Yeah.
There is power in numbers.
Well,
borrowing from the Warriors, strength in numbers.
But also, if you speak the language, it's a kind of code, right?
What do you mean, kind of? If they're speaking the language and nobody else understands them, that's not just kind of a code. It is a code,
right? It is the code. It is the code, and it is power. Yeah, but that's why it's against the law, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I mean,
they don't want you talking about them.
I mean, it is. I mean, people have sued the Fragante case. Went up, tried to get to the Supreme Court, but it was thrown out. But people can be fired for not just for the code, but for the accent.
They can be denied promotion. They can be denied employment, right, at the gateway, and they can be laid off or fired because of their accent. And the most important thing is, and we've said that in previous shows, right? The most important thing is the Supreme Court did not set a clear standard.
They avoided the case. They threw it out. They said
it was up to the employer. So up to this point, the Fragante case has determined that it's the employer's standard that matters. If they say it's going to interfere with the quality of work that we expect from our employees in this circumstance, that's good enough. They don't have to compare accents or ask people, who are being served, do you have a problem with this person's accent? Can you understand them when they speak English, right? That kind of thing. None of that was part of the Fragante case at all.
And the crazy thing is that case was brought up by Hawaii, by Honolulu, against
the city of Honolulu, city and county of Honolulu. That's correct.
And where you're going to get that, and I guess the court, the court didn't want to get into it, but it would have been a great case to I mean,
for the Supreme Court, if they set a standard, that's
yeah,
right. It's important, but they just let it go. And that favored the
but,
employer, right? The city of
and
Honolulu.
and you're not going to get another case like that ever again. Well, you're not going to get a court that would have been more favorable to people with accents, because now,
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
oh yeah. You got 6-3.
yeah, it's not going to happen.
And the wimpy Democrats are saying, no, you don't want to expand the court. No.
Yeah,
Okay, they're just such
yeah.
wimps. I'm so tired of their wimpiness,
Well,
man.
and
You know, they show up in a knife fight with a rule
yeah,
book.
well,
You
but
know,
are you talking about the
they,
Democrats?
they want they want to talk principle. They want to talk judiciousness,
Hey,
right? To a bunch of people that are standing there with a knife and a
hey, we
handgun.
take the Democrats take the high road. They're high.
Oh
They're
yeah,
high.
yeah, and then so they shoot you right in the
Yeah.
balls. You go ahead and take the high
Or down
road,
there.
and we're going to shoot we're going to shoot your
Or
genitalia.
you mean the lower extremities? I think.
Yes. The lower extremities are the feet. I'm talking
Oh,
about
mid
places.
range extremities.
The twain, yeah, the twain, where the twain
Oh,
meet.
you're talking about like the third chakra, I think.
Wow.
Maybe the second,
That is truly deep,
or maybe
man.
the second
Truly
chakra. I'm
deep.
just telling you.
If you're gonna go there, what color is your third chakra? I wonder.
Well, it should be, if it's accurate, if it's really
I think
third, it should be yellow.
I don't even know if the South Asians are gonna know what we're talking about, man.
The third chakra should be
I don't
yellow.
know.
You know that.
Yeah,
The
man.
third is
I mean,
always yellow. There's no
see,
question about it.
yeah. No, I've been very respectful of Indian culture ever since I discovered the Kama Sutra. So
yes, not the. I
yeah.
thought it was the Camel Sutra. I
Oh,
thought.
God.
That's
really gross.
That's gonna bestiality.
That is really
All right,
gross.
no more bestiality. Okay.
No. Camels, like llamas and goats, they have really cute eyes. They're really pretty. I mean,
and camels have but they have two lumps, not one.
Well, it depends on what kind.
Well,
there's a dromedary. Right?
Dromedary is one. That should be the unidary.
Yeah, that's right.
Speaking of dairy, hey,
boy, that was quite a that was quite a tour through a real encyclopedia.
Wait a
man.
minute.
I mean,
speaking of dairy, the bird flu.
Yes.
The bird flu is it's an emergency in California.
Oh my God!
And
but it's all Biden's fault. Biden and Harris. That's why. And that's why eggs are so expensive. It was Biden and Harris.
No, it's RFK Jr.'s fault, because he's for raw milk, and raw milk is where they found the bird flu.
No. The RFK Jr. is liable, right? And I hope the family sues, because he's telling people to drink raw milk.
Yes.
And the kid died.
I know.
Right?
Yes.
And a boy died.
And that's where they found the bird flu, in the raw milk.
Yes. And they found it was transferable to dairy.
Right.
And so now people are shifting over to goat's milk. So
that's a real Asian thing, though, goat's milk. Goat's milk. That's a natural Asian thing.
See, now we like goat's milk, right? Well, there's always a tube of goat's milk in our fridge.
No. I used to eat Chev, which is
goat
milk cheese, but now I've been non-dairy for a long time, and
right. Well,
that's the way to go.
I was wrong about saying goat's milk. It's goat milk cheese that we have, just like yours. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's what we
Chev.
have in the fridge.
Chev.
Yeah, it's like Chev, but we got it locally because there's a big goat farm.
Yeah,
down in,
all right. As long as we're talking cheese, there's a great company. There's a great vegan cheese company. Now,
okay,
there's a couple that are available locally.
Miyokos. Are they from Marin?
Well, Miyokos, I think, is local, from the Northern California area, but she makes a cheese. Miyokos makes a cheese that a lot of the vegan pizza places have picked up on. And if you get a vegan pizza that uses Miyoko's pizza or Miyoko's cheese, that's a good vegan pizza. So I've had some of that lately. But there's a company out of out of Austin, Texas. It's called Rebel Cheese. And this
they don't fly the flag.
Not an advertisement. And if I'm a consumer,
But do they fly the flag? I mean, I'm
yeah.
hoping they're not flying
What do they fly? What they fly?
the rebel flag.
No, 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 no. They don't fly the rope, but they fly. They will fly cheese to your doorstep if you want to order it. It's a great place, Rebel Cheese, to visit. But their cheese. I had a cheese last night that was great, except a little too peppery for me. A pepper jack, but a
Oh,
great place. Rebel Cheese, vegan
such a
cheese,
wimp,
vegan cheese.
dude. Give me that pepper jack. You got any leftover pepper jack?
Oh
Bring it.
yeah, yeah. But I don't have with the mezcal that would be good. No, but we got some others. But
No
the
lie.
fact is, if you want a good hard vegan cheese, there it is, Rebel Cheese. But I think they are planning an expansion, other stores throughout the country, but they're based in Austin. Anyway, this is
Well, that makes sense,
yeah,
though. I mean, I'm worried about them choosing to use rebel because of the Southern historic
yeah.
quote cultural
I
elements. But if it's
yeah,
Austin, that's a
yeah,
university town. That's the University of Texas. That's the
yeah.
Longhorns. I mean, that's the home of not only
Right.
non-electric organic guitars and music,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Look,
it's
all
really
right, but
cool.
here's the thing about Austin. It also
Austin
is.
City Limits.
It's also a good barbecue city. So being vegan and being vegan cheese, that's rebel. That's rebel foodie.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They're foodie.
They got rebel ribs. Do they got rebel ribs?
No, they're just all cheese.
They got
They're
rebel
they're
brisket.
all
Come on,
cheese.
man.
They're
If
all
you're gonna
cheese.
go south, you
But hey,
gotta have rebel
but
brisket.
I'll say this: I had a Beyond. I'm not really big on the fake meats, but I had a Beyond Burger, the new Beyond Burger that has more of an avocado oil thing going on. It's this is the thing about fake meats, high in fat, but maybe more of the good fat, and they taste just like
Yeah,
meat.
just the good. You need fat. You need good
You need
fat for
good.
the brain,
Well,
man.
that was my term for you. This is my friend. No, he's Dan. He's the good fat. Oh no, just kidding.
Yeah,
Term of endearment. Here's my
yeah.
first.
Well, yeah. Don's dad before Don's dad would always forget my name, and he'd go, "So, how's the fat guy?"
No, Don,
Yeah,
DAWN, our mutual
yeah.
friend.
Don Mavilan is
Yeah,
who we're
and
talking
you're
about.
actually
Yeah,
talking about her father, Ernie, who is my
yeah.
friend, and
Ernie, Ernie was
I
cool,
loved
man.
Ernie. He had a great.
Yeah. Well, all those guys, man, all those guys that were dared to organize, dared to be union and all
Hey,
that,
all
and
right. Speaking of union, now what's going on with Amazon? I guess
oh yeah,
the strike.
yeah,
Well,
baby. My shit is gonna get here
well,
slow. I'm telling
the
everybody, hey, your gifts ain't
the
getting
thing
here.
about Amazon is I love it because it gets me to live the COVID lifestyle, which I love. I love the COVID lifestyle where I can like stand in my COVID closet and talk to people. People say, Emil, we never see anymore. And I say, oh, just tune
Yeah,
in.
yeah, and you can do it like you usually do. You're half
Yeah.
clad, right? They don't
Oh no,
realize that
no.
you got nothing
I'm
on.
fully clothed.
You got nothing
I'm,
on from the belt
I'm
down.
fully
You
clothed.
know.
I'll move my camera here. I'm fully clothed.
No, we don't want to
I'm fully
see. We don't want
I'm
to
fully
see.
clothed.
Oh my god. Oh my
I'm
god.
fully clothed. No, but here's the
Uh,
COVID lifestyle. Amazon has allowed me to continue on with my COVID lifestyle, which I like. And the bird flu is it's getting me excited because hey, we got a pandemic, maybe. We got a pandemic, baby. We might have, a lock.
Here comes another
We
one.
might have
You
semi
know what?
lockdown.
Linda and I were the only two people wearing
Oh, I
masks
believe it. I believe it.
in this huge Target
Yeah.
store, and then also we went to a
Mm.
Kohl's, you
Yeah.
know, and man, we were the only two people
Yeah,
wearing
and
masks.
I would just wear it going into a Kohl's. I would wear a mask just for the off gassing. The off gassing is really, you know, I don't know about your Kohl's, but my Kohl's, last time I was in a Kohl's, I thought, oh, the off gassing here. Thank goodness I'm all, masked up.
Yeah, there is a lot of plastic material and stuff like
Yeah,
that in
you got to
there.
worry
Yeah.
about the off gassing. People don't talk enough
Yeah,
about the
no.
off
Well,
gassing.
listen, you should be wearing an oxygen mask if you go into an IKEA
Oh,
because all that stuff,
I can't.
gas,
Yeah,
trust.
and
It,
and avoid the sweet.
all of their shelving and stuff like that, all of the stuff that looks like a wood
Yeah,
product, it's all kind of
yeah,
wood.
and
It's mostly glue, it's mostly stuff, chemicals,
the
right?
gas is for
Anyway,
real.
oh shit, Kathy has guaranteed that I'm going to get a wedge of paper jack that you don't like, and and I'm also going to get okay. And she's clarified that the rebels are. Their statement is the rebels. We are rebels for the animals, the earth, and
Oh, right.
ourselves. Well, see, the ourselves stuff gives me concern.
Those are
Because
the good rebels.
I want to make sure they're not flying the rebel
No, no,
flag,
they're
man.
not flying
That's
the
all.
rebel flag. I mean, yeah, no Dixie rebel cheese. I don't think.
Yeah.
But all right, so were we talking about this whole idea about the pandemic? I mean, I think
Yes.
we've got a new pandemic perhaps, and it's getting me excited.
Yeah, but this one's going to be weird because people are still not going to wear masks, unless they have close contact with actual live cows and birds.
Yeah,
Okay, so if they say, well, I'm not that much in contact with birds or live cows,
yeah.
so
Thank goodness
it's okay.
I think so. My ex-wife, she was a live cow, but
Whoa, God! What if Kathy? What the? What the H?
no, no. So Dan, bird flu. It's something that people should be concerned about. But here's the thing: I think to be cautious, people should just avoid eating dairy. Not raw milk, not homogenized milk, not any kind of milk. I mean, all dairy products, and that's not
Yeah,
being
yeah. No,
alarmist.
we use oat milk and almond
Yeah.
milk. So there
So
it
I
is.
avoid dairy because you can and without really missing it, and you should avoid eating eggs. You should avoid there goes the price of eggs is too high. Avoid eating eggs. Avoid any of that stuff, and then
What I'm
you'll be
surprised
healthy.
by is
Healthy.
that there are vegan egg products,
Oh
right?
yeah,
Egg substitute
yeah,
products that are
yeah,
vegan,
yeah.
and they're not there. I mean, even Whole Foods doesn't have them yet,
Just
which surprises the hell out of
there's
me. They should jump
one
on it.
product I use called Just Eggs. It's delicious, and I don't know what it's made of, but it, it's not a chicken. It's not a chicken product. I think it's
So
liquid and a lot of tofu with a lot of yellow
it's a mystery. Yeah, yeah. It's got to be. It's got to
turmeric.
have some
Got a lot of
soy,
turmeric,
some soy
turmeric to make it look
base.
like eggs. No, but I mean,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can have substitutes like
Wow, if they use turmeric to make that's
yeah,
healthy.
yeah,
Turmeric is very
and I
good.
think people should have a vegan Christmas with a skinny Santa Claus. That would be good. A skinny Santa, it would be vegan, and that's what you need. You need that kind of thing. You need it. So now, Dan, we've been talking about the holidays. We're in.
You got to work some of this stuff into your show somehow. I don't
It
know,
will
but
be. It will be. It will be.
yeah, we're
But
yeah.
now, what if? I mean, I'm just thinking that there's a lot of stuff happening. I don't think people.
Oh no
Yeah,
kidding.
but I don't think.
Yeah, but it's
I
not.
don't think people.
But it's not being covered honestly by everybody. It's being, it's the same problem, right?
Yeah,
You got mainstream,
yeah,
right? And then you got Fox and Sinclair,
yeah,
and Newsmax and all that stuff going on.
yeah,
Uh, like I think one of your previous shows, 2 shows
yeah.
ago, I researched right before we went
Uh,
on. We came online. I researched how many radio stations are right of center, and it's like 80% of the live talk radio shows in the whole country are way right of
oh yeah,
center, man.
yeah. I mean, one of those stations, WCBM, owned by uh, Luigi Mangioni's family, by the way. Yeah,
Oh,
WCB. I mean,
there we
Baltimore.
go.
Because when I lived in DC, I would try to hook on with some of these radio stations up there, and WCBM was always a possibility. But they were too Christian and too right wing, and they would be a place for people like Michael Savage and people like that.
Oh yeah,
And so,
oh yeah.
I never worked there, but I did work at a station in DC and doing talk radio in the 80s, or actually in the 90s, early 90s it was. And so that was kind of cool, but because I know CBM, and I know, like I said, owned by the Mangione family, and so this is a good time to get into the perp walk idea, because that's a story that's being covered, and it seems to be. I think it's going to be an enduring story. I don't think people are going to let up on the Luigi Mangione story, especially after yesterday's perp walk. What do you think? I mean, I think because it's not just about murder, even though everyone, all the the justice folks, rightfully, they want to make sure this guy is brought to justice, but they're throwing the book at him. The state has the terrorism charge, and the feds have this other charge about stalking and interstate commerce, and they could get the death penalty on him for that. There's no death penalty in the New York charges, but now it's like the defense attorneys for Mangione is saying, hey, this is like piling on and may possibly double jeopardy. Now you're the legal expert. I mean, it seems like they're coming at Luigi from all sides.
I wouldn't say that, because I'm not a practicing attorney, and it's been, when I graduated, 77. God, it's been, whoa! It's been nearly 50 years, man.
Yeah,
I started law school. I started law school 50 years ago. Okay?
Yeah, but the law still hasn't changed. They're still putting away people.
The law has changed plenty. Basic law has not changed, but the law itself and the way it's been applied, particularly constitutional issues, has changed drastically in the last 15 years. Drastically.
Yeah. Well, all right.
One of the most drastic cases was Citizens United.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. Yeah.
And the Pagante case was decided right around the same time.
All right, but talk about this whole idea, double jeopardy. Are they piling on these charges, the state and the feds, to try to like really screw in Luigi Mangione?
But that's typical. That's what prosecutors do. You stack up the charges, and it's up to the defense to get them eliminated. I mean, they haven't even had their first preliminary hearings. It's at the preliminary hearings, a lot of that stuff is worked out. What's real and what's not real. And so the initial process by zealous prosecutors, right, is to pile on, get as many different charges as you possibly can. And they do that even at the minor level, the relatively low level, where the people are at most charged with a felony that we would call a wobbler. The prosecutors and defense counsel say that there are some charges that can either be charged as a felony or as a misdemeanor. So they're called wobblers. And in this instance, ain't no wobblers. The only wobbling that I saw was initially they were talking about a second-degree murder charge. And I thought, what the heck?
You're talking about the state level.
Yeah.
They've got the murder 1 and they have murder 2 with terrorism.
Right.
And that's at the state level. But I don't know. It sounds like they've got all these charges.
When he was first, apprehended, right?
Yeah.
That's when there was discussion online, at least, and on news coverage of secondary murder, and I thought that's absolutely nuts. I mean, no thinking prosecutor would ever go for just secondary murder. When you got enough of the elements of first-degree murder, you got to go with it, because the jury can decide to convict for any homicide
from
first-degree murder all the way down to manslaughter.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah. So they have that choice. It all comes down to how the trial goes, right?
Well, let me ask you this. We see all the video. We've got the manifesto. It just looks like they've got him at the scene of the crime. Is it possible? I mean, it looks like they pretty much have a dead.
Nah. Huh? Defense counsel, one of the first things they do is, was it really our guy? That's one of the first things they do. I saw that all the time. Yeah. In criminal cases here in San Francisco, right? and elsewhere. Sometimes, other parts of the state, but it was always the same, right? They would
Yeah.
always say, "Are you sure?" And if there was a witness, how far were you? How far were you from this person? And are you sure about your identification? Was there anybody else around in that area that might have looked like this individual? They do that kind of stuff, and and a lot of times it's really laughable.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. I'm not
I
kidding.
know, but look, you
I
got
have to leave the
video.
room. There are times when I have to leave the room because I'm going to be found in contempt of court for laughing out the hell loud.
Yeah.
Okay.
But a decent defense attorney has to do that
They
to
got to
get
do
cover
something like
everything.
that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. He wasn't. There's no proof that he was actually there. There's no proof that he was actually there in New York on that day. Okay. That was, and they put that stuff
Yeah.
out in the news, even though it's a ridiculous argument, right? They
Yeah.
got all kinds of evidence that it was him, right? So including the weapon. I mean,
Well,
this is really crazy, man.
well, he was found with the weapon in Altoona, Pennsylvania, but they're
Yeah,
going to
right. So yeah, it could have come to him by some other means, right?
it just showed up at a McDonald's.
They're gonna have to show up. Yeah, well, somebody else could have been wearing gloves when they handle the gun, so their prints don't show up on the gun. Okay. Well, what about he took the time to write, 3 words on 3 different shell casings, right?
Yeah.
And so you think there might be prints all over those things?
Yeah.
So,
Well, this only assures that Luigi Mangioni's trial will be. I mean, we're getting all this pre-trial stuff.
that's right.
The trial happens, everyone's going to be watching. It'll
That's
be
right.
carried by everybody, and
There you
it'll be
go.
interesting. But the subtext to all of this is it's all about the insurance. It's all about healthcare insurance, and I don't condone what he's
What he did.
alleged to have done, but I have written about people's new understanding of how insurance works, because
Right.
people don't understand how it works, and the insurance companies pretty much have admitted we don't really communicate well why we decline, why we do not honor premiums. You pay for insurance and we don't honor your claims. It's because the insurance company, they're not interested in your health, they're interested in your money, and that's all. And they'll pay out as much as they can. But if everyone gets sick, they're not. I mean, that's why you can't insure against a common cold, right?
It's first of all, they don't insure. They insure not because they can. They insure what they have to, and
Right.
so they insure what they're forced to, and
Right.
that means that if there's a threat that they could get sued, they're going to measure the possibility that they could win that suit. Okay.
Oh
So,
yeah.
so they're also going to measure the possibility that rather than one individual, there could be a class action against them, and it's going to cost more. Okay. So they might settle in those instances because it's actually going to cost them less
Yeah.
to pay out than it would to fight the case in court. So
But-
those kind of things the public never sees. They
Yeah.
don't see that stuff.
Yeah, but
Universities get sued all the time, but
Yeah.
they always walk away with NDAs, with non-disclosure agreements.
Yeah,
What does
no-
that mean? The
no one
public
knows.
never sees whether or not the plaintiff has succeeded. They never see whether or not, when the plaintiff succeeds, what the rationale was, what the court decision was. They never see if the university wins, if the hospital wins. I'm using universities because I'm a member of one, but
Right.
but it's the same thing with any of the institutions, any of the corporations. It's the
Well,
same.
the point I'm making is that it's not about your health, and in your denial of your claim, I saw that ProPublica did a story about how AI is involved.
Right.
AI is involved in which claim gets approved and which claim gets denied.
Yes, this is beyond now the actuarial tables, right? This is beyond that. So the AI adds another level.
Yeah, but
analysis, and it's not human analysis.
Right. It adds to the inhumanity of this all.
That's right.
Which is really the big complaint when someone says, I have cancer and I'm not getting, I've been denied, or because, get a human being involved. But no, there's no human being involved, because Brian Thompson, the CEO who was of United Healthcare, who was shot, he was an accountant. An accountant. I mean, not a doctor. I mean,
Well, but it's ever since my medical jurisprudence class,
yeah.
way back in 1976, right?
Mm.
Okay, we all said now the professor who taught the medical jurisprudence class was a psychiatrist, and he was a psychiatrist at UCSF,
Yeah.
and he taught both the medical jurisprudence class, and then he also taught the medical jurisprudence class from a medical professional's point of view at UCSF. He taught both sides, right?
Yeah.
So it was a great opportunity to have this guy as a professor. It was one of my highest grades. I was so interested in it, and partially because my wife, worked in a medical environment, so I wanted to
Yeah.
know what kind of liabilities, she was facing, and how far a lawsuit could go, even when somebody else, not her, but somebody else in the chain of command screws up, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, that you're absolutely right. People do not understand, right? That it is a capitalistic mode. Insurance is a capitalistic mode. That's what it's there for. It's like betting. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
betting,
Well,
and
I call them the healthcare bookies, because they pay out, but they never lose. The bookies get taking your money from both sides,
you
and
know, the rules favor the house.
yeah,
The rules favor the freaking house,
yeah.
and you got to understand that. You have to accept it. It's like,
But see, this is the thing. If we had, and the bottom line is, maybe Bernie Sanders was right. When he was pushing Medicare for all, and that was one of the things that Kamala Harris was behind initially. Back when Bernie Sanders was running, but now she backed off.
she can't do that. Yeah.
Because Medicare for all is condemned as socialized medicine.
Well, what is it? It would wipe out private insurance.
Yeah.
It will wipe out private insurance.
Well, it will
unless what private insurance should be doing is looking at an intermediate relationship, right, with medical care, so that they could offer themselves as an alternative to government single payer medical care.
And they are, in a way, in Medicare now when they offer Medicare Advantage. But
you gotta watch out. You gotta watch out what the Medicare Advantage plan does, right?
No, I'm saying it's a terrible plan.
Yeah,
but I'm saying it is the corporate way of saying, hey, you can get Medicare, your Medicare, you can get Medicare,
your regular Medicare payment,
yeah,
and coverage,
or you can just get and buy a supplement, or you can just get Medicare Advantage, which gives you all this other stuff, but it doesn't give you the Cadillac coverage
right.
that a Medicare supplement would, and so now we're like people over 65 who have Medicare, you'll know if you have Medicare Advantage, and we're talked into it because it's lower premiums, but when you're sick, and need the care, you'll pay the price.
I have 4 letters that I could advise people about how to deal with Medicare Advantage. AARP. That's all you got to do. You just got to look at their recommendations, man.
Yeah.
But so if you're not a member, even if you're not a member of AARP, if you can, you have a phone, if you got a cell phone and you can use the internet, and you can use Google or
look,
whatever.
The basic thing is Medicare is good, but there are gaps, and they suggest a Medicare supplement or a Medicare coverage, and most people, and this is where the corporates are trying to horn in, saying, "Oh, we'll offer a better." They offer supplements, but some also offer this Medicare Advantage, and that is kind of like it's a come on because it's cheaper, but like I said, if you get sick, it doesn't really cover you quite the way a regular Medicare plan.
You got to be careful about what is actually covered. You got to read.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah, you have to read
this is
statements about what they cover.
this is the thing about Mangione that I think it's he's provided a public service because now at least people look once they get over this idea of trying to glorify him as Saint Luigi, he's at least brought the attention to the real problem, insurance, and his manifesto said yes, it's all about insurance. That's the problem, and people shouldn't forget that, and they should look and maybe contact the legislators about trying to do something about expanding healthcare, like Medicare for all at some point. I mean, that's really the only answer. All right, let's move on to the next topic. I want to talk about more of the shutdown because it looks like this Plan C, uh, Mike Johnson, who just got hosed by Elon Musk and Donald Trump. He's still at it. He says we will not have a government shutdown. They've got a Plan C, and the newest route doesn't grant Trump's wish to raise the debt ceiling, which could be, which could sink it in the eyes of Trump. But it may be the only way to get Democrats and Republicans together. So we got a Plan C. Do you think we're going to have a shutdown tonight?
I think so. I think
you think we're going to have a shutdown tonight?
Yes. I think we will have a shutdown tonight. I'm kind of hoping we do. Okay.
Yeah.
Even if it only lasts for 1 or 2 days. Now, because the Republicans are going to be so scared that this is going to hang on them that they will wise up and make the right vote. The thing is, and I think the Democrats have been doing the right thing. Why do we have to why do we have to save them their butts again? Because that's what they've been doing this whole time, right? Every time that they've had a close majority, either way, Democrats in the majority or Republicans in the majority, they've always had to do crossover. Let's meet in the middle and shake hands, that kind of thing. Excuse me a second, I got a cough.
Yeah. All right. So, but the thing is, all right. So there was this first option which everyone agreed to. It was a bipartisan measure.
And they worked on it for several months. We can't, you can't short sell the fact that they worked on it for several months.
And everyone was on board. The MAGA types and everyone was on board, except Elon Musk and except Donald Trump. Well, Donald Trump would have been on board, but Elon Musk pushed him. That'll bring up the analogous or the another aspect of this topic. But then the second option, a conservative one, failed last night, and now this third option, they've got maybe one big bill into three smaller bills. So we'll see. They'll have a vote. I frankly hope they get something that keeps the government open, because I think it's important to pay TSA. It's important to pay the military.
Oh, no kidding.
Medicare and Social Security will not be affected because those aren't annual allocations. They're already approved.
But see, we shouldn't gloss over that. All right. Yeah. One of the ways that the right wing, and particularly the Republican Party, right, has been trying. They've been using the argument for generations now that Social Security and Medicare are entitlements. They've used that language, entitlements, right, as though it's something that's optional. Okay, because so it's something that can be changed and even eliminated, right, as something that's not necessary. It's an entitlement. Right. The reality is that you and I have contributed to both of those, Medicare and Social Security. It's deductions from your freaking paycheck, right? Yeah. So if you bother to look at your paycheck, you can see, FICA and all the rest of that stuff, that's where your money's going. Okay. I mean, when the first check that I got, very first check I got, I looked at it and I said, what the hell is that? Because like 1/4 of my check was going somewhere, and my hourly wage had been reduced, by 30-40%. Right. And it's like, what? Where's this going? Okay. I've been contributing since I was 16. My wife had started contributing because she had a federal internship job since she was 15. Right. And then the right wing calls it an entitlement. man, right?
Yeah,
It's like a government-run IRA, man. That's what I see it as, you know.
yeah. Well, it's important to note that a shutdown will not affect Social Security or Medicare payments. However, it will affect the people who work in those offices. So if you are applying for new benefits or need help with the
You
offices,
might not get a response.
yeah, although everything is online now. Everything
Well,
is
yeah,
online.
okay, yeah, sure. So if it's digital, you know, I'll see, because I'm
Yeah,
supposed to I got to get a Social Security payment, and I usually get it between the 20th and the 23rd, right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
today's the 20th, so you know I'm going to actively, like I do, you know, all every week, at least once a week, is check what's going on with my check with my pay.
Yeah,
Okay.
where's my damn check? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So anyway, but people should be if there's a shutdown, it shouldn't impact these allocations that aren't annual, like Social Security and Medicare. They're in another bucket, another. They're not part of this annual budget.
the people that are going to be affected are the people who collect a paycheck biweekly or monthly from the
Yeah,
federal government. So we're talking about federal employees all across the country. That's
and
who we're
military,
talking about.
and military, and,
Yeah,
and the
and the
military bill.
military. You know, they
Yeah,
have to work, right? Like TSA has to work. They cannot walk off because they're not getting paid. So
yeah,
they're going to be working without pay.
yeah, and they can salute their commander in chief,
That's the guy.
elect,
And
commander in
he's
chief,
elect.
elect.
Okay. And this, I hope people understand that that's where we're going next with this conversation.
Yeah.
Okay. There's,
Well,
there's
yeah,
two or three levels to
yeah.
this next conversation, man.
Well, all right. So this is the thing. The shutdown. Elon Musk says, "Oh, we're not going to pass this."
Yeah. Who is that guy?
Yeah.
Did
I
you,
mean,
who voted for him?
well, that's the thing. No one voted
Okay.
for him. I mean,
Okay. Well, evidently, all of the people who voted for Trump voted for Elon.
yeah. Well, this is we got him in the bargain. But anytime you give 350 million to Trump and the Republicans, I guess you feel somewhat entitled, huh?
My
You feel
God,
entitled.
it's up to 350 now. The last time I looked, it was 250. The
No, I
first
think
week we
it's
looked at was 180. Remember that when people would say, just to be safe, it was over 100 million. All right, then it was a 180, and then it was 250, and now what you're telling me? It was three and a
well.
half.
I say I saw 277.
Okay, that was
A while
280.
ago,
That's what I rounded it off to 280.
but when you include the amount that he's given Republicans in general, as you know,
Rather than just the
well,
Trump campaign.
yeah, it ends up around 350. This is to all of government because
Okay.
he wants in. He wants to buy in, and
Well, he did. Once in, he is in.
he is in. Well,
He was even in before he was making these contributions. He was
yes,
already influencing stuff even before he made these contributions, because people were looking up to him. In
yeah,
popular culture, Musk is a freaking genius,
yeah,
right?
because he's got money.
And one of the reasons we have to believe that he's a genius is that he puts stuff in outer space, right? And
Yeah.
people buy his cars. So he's got to be a genius.
Except a lot of his cars are being recalled now because of some kind of.
They have been being recalled all along, and he's
Yeah.
a subject. His cars and he personally are subjects of lawsuits over wrongful death, because people were crazy enough to believe the crap about being able to do an automated car that is self-driving and completely safe. Remember that? I mean, how long has it been? It's been like pre-COVID, 5 years since that Asian American dude was sitting in the back seat of his Tesla driving down to Palo Alto, right? And he let the car, drive, and he got killed for his trouble. That's smart.
Well, I'll tell you, this is the thing about technology and people, being hoodwinked by this guy. He's no genius, and certainly he's not. He doesn't have much of a human touch. I mean, considering all his ex-wives and children and all that.
That are named after mathematical formulas.
Yeah, I just think that
he has got one kid named Pythagoras, right? So.
Does he? I know Pythagoras. Euclid would be good name.
There you go.
So I don't know. this is like, well, it's bad enough. He's not a puppet. Well, who's the puppet? The puppet president.
There is the question.
The
Which
puppet
one is
president.
the shadow president?
Well,
Right?
you
Which
call
one's
it
the
shadow
shadow president?
president. You call it shadow president. That would mean, well, I prefer puppet president because that puts it firmly on Trump. Trump is the puppet. Elon pulling the strings. Shadow president. Well, I guess it works too. Elon's the rich man, and he throws the shadow onto
Yeah.
Biden.
So the guy working in the
Or
background
Trump.
that's in the shadow is actually the guy that got elected.
Yeah. And meanwhile, the guy who's really in the shadow is the guy I misnamed, Biden, who, you know,
He's
in his
still president. He's still
he's still
president.
president. Yeah.
Yeah. But other people are making are making policy, and they're driving the legislators.
Yeah.
They're absolutely controlling the legislators with the threat of being primaried. I mean, these people, it's I think it's horrible that they put I got to keep my job first, right?
Yeah.
Above the interests of the people. It's already bad. That's already bad enough.
Well,
Right?
it's
But
sad. Yeah, it's sad because if you're just looking at the way government works and you say, "Oh, this is the way they make laws," someone with a lot of money has this kind of influence. I mean, that's sort of like the lobbyist, right? I mean, he's like his Uber lobbyist. He's right in there in the pockets of everybody, and I'm talking about Musk. But if people see this, I don't see how you can't watch this and just be totally disgusted with government, totally disgusted with how they act, how they their lack of
they're
ethics.
already discussing with government. Okay, so
Oh
that's
yeah,
part of the problem. That's part of the problem. The general American public, I don't care what kind of your ideological or party policy, affiliation you have,
yeah,
they're already disgusted with government. They're very distrustful of government, and rightfully so. But
yeah.
they don't understand where that distrust is anchored. Why do we have this distrust? What is it that government has done or not done that
I
makes them not worthy of our trust? They're not
here's
doing that. They're not making even a half step towards
yeah.
understanding that reality.
Here's a
That is America.
I
That is the condition of America.
I saw this headline. It posed a question: is America or is democracy? Um, is American democracy bored with winning? And
God,
and
that's stupid.
it made me think: is it? Yeah, maybe we're just bored with being too good, to being
Oh,
the
jeez.
democracy.
That is an asinine. That's an
No, no,
asinine question.
no, maybe it is because you look at people who just take everything for granted. They don't think about the government. They don't think, how many people are even paying attention to the shutdown? Or if they are paying attention to the shutdown, they're saying, it'll work out. They just don't care. And what I'm saying is maybe that kind of attitude comes from of winning too much. We win too much. We're better than everyone. And it made me think of last night's Warriors game where the Warriors lost by 51 points and they were humbled. And they're not even a great team, now as they exist, but they, have won 3 championships. They just traded for Dennis Schroeder. It was his debut. People were looking forward to this game. They play the Grizzlies and they get killed 51 points. And I thought maybe America needs to be humbled by going through this second Trump era, by going through all it's going through now, because people need to pay attention. Maybe they will after, what's going on now, but they aren't and they don't care. It's the holidays. I think Americans are bored. You don't think that's right? You don't think that's
Nah, I don't think it's about boredom. I think that overall, just the entire American population, okay, is confronted with a level of complexity, okay, in terms of social issues, right, and in terms of economic and political conditions, that it's very difficult. It's very challenging to just simply stay informed. Okay, that's number one. Okay, the basis of their status in terms of agents of information and knowledge, right? Right?
Yeah.
Comes from their level of education. And
Ah.
60% of American society lacks college, college degrees. That's one of the measures, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so which now that might mean that as many as 70% of Americans have actually had some college experience. They just haven't had a degree. And I think it's probably up to around 75%. They just don't have a degree. They just dropped out. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, that's where we start, is what is their level of consciousness, their level of real understanding, right, of
Mm.
how the economy works and what its relationship is to the way business works, the way capitalism works, right?
Yeah.
Because on top of all of that these days is the fact that we are a group of people, a nation that is engaged in a in global politics, right?
Mm.
In a global circumstance. They're not even there. They only react to global circumstances when it's an emergency. Okay,
Yeah.
when there's a threat of war. Okay, and the United States involvement in war. So Russia attacks Ukraine, right? So that, yeah, let's not get involved. You see the isolationist attitude
Yeah.
that occupied American consciousness before World War One and after World War One, right?
Yeah.
And where did it lead? It led to World War Two. Okay, and so then with World War Two, we correct some of the mistakes. We try to create a better forum, the United Nations, which was an improvement over the League of Nations, all that kind of stuff. And what does that lead to? Engagements in smaller international wars, right?
Mm.
So the U.S. and the West engaged in Vietnam. Okay,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, and it was Americans keep thinking it was just the U.S. Everybody sent troops and civilians, right?
All right.
To go try to win the Vietnam War. Okay, and
All
then
right.
all of the smaller wars and people at the international relations academic level were already writing about smaller wars and the fact that the big nations were going to be engaged in all these smaller wars that were like leftover elements of the wars for political, social, and economic independence, right?
All right.
That
Get back to the college idea. All right. So what does that
Yeah.
have to do with
So
it?
they don't have college, they don't got economics, right? They
Yeah.
really don't understand the system, how it works. And
Yeah.
so then they end up blaming Harrison Waltz because eggs are too expensive and
Yeah.
milk too expensive. Okay. So that's crazy. It's
Yeah.
absolutely nuts that they do that. But
Yeah.
look at the thinking. It's very shallow. It's very direct. It has to do with the people that are in power. It has to do with leadership. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, then there's image. Joe Biden, weak image,
Yeah.
right? Soft spoken guy, even when he's being rather excited or even dynamic, a little bit more dynamic rhetorically, he still does not compare to Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Even when Donald Trump is lying his ass off, even when he's saying things that are absolutely afactual, right? They're
Yeah.
not just lies, they're grossly afactual. They got nothing to do with facts, okay?
Yeah.
But people accept that
Yeah.
as fact, okay? Because there are enough media sources, right,
Mm.
to validate by repetition whatever it is that Trump says.
Yeah.
Here it is. So they have their own choices of how they validate their own point of view. They have their own choices about how they validate uh, what one source is saying, about a given issue. And there are times when those right wing sources don't even mention a huge a huge occurrence that has massive impact on the very people that seek the news, that seek information from those sources. They just don't mention it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's funny that a lot of people want to do original reporting, but if you're too original, it doesn't get picked up by everyone else, and there's no common sense of the news.
There
I
it
mean,
is.
like, you could look at the New York Times, and sometimes the front page matches. Sometimes they have an original story. Like I saw one today I don't have my New York Times with me today, but there was a story that, excuse me, that was original. If you were just watching CNN or MSNBC, you wouldn't see it mentioned. You know, I read Axios a lot, and what they talked about was interesting today. They talked about this idea about how media has become kind of it's all social media now. There's media
That's
and
it.
then
That's
there's
it.
reporting.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's gossip and talk that people throw out on social media, and that's why Elon Musk he owns X. He puts out a tweet out there to people about, oh, this thing's coming down. You know, we shouldn't pass it. It influences everyone. It's not based on real facts. It's his opinion, but people give him credibility, and so it's not really reporting, it's opinion. It's a mix between opinion and gossip, and but people say, oh, I believe in Elon, so it's
Yes.
truth. And
Yes.
it's not truth, and that's really the problem with the media today.
Yes.
That, and this is why it's important to have something like, even though you may not agree with it 100%, but it's important to have the New York Times, even the Washington Post, and the Wall Street Journal. And here's the thing about the Washington Post: it's owned by Jeff Bezos, who's one of the richest men in the world, who also has government contracts and other
And
other
who was a part of the threesome for
yeah,
dinner
right, with
last week?
with Musk and Trump, and he's given $1 million to the inaugural, and so
Right.
you got to wonder what is going on here. I guess ownership is always usually separate from reporting. It's usually separate from the opinion and editorial side. Well, editorial side always separate from the reporting side,
Sure, the
but
owners always declare, even Murdoch, right? Even he
yeah,
declares that I'm a hands-off guy. I mean, they're just doing what they're supposed to do. They doing journalism, and
yeah,
and everybody knows that he squeezes on everybody. I mean, he's
yeah,
got a lot of people, former, Fox employees, right, that are
mhm,
saying, nah, it's Murdoch, it's the family, right, and
yeah.
and 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 that's who's running everything. So, but
Well,
people accept that. People
yeah.
are willing to accept that.
And this is the thing about you get someone like Bezos up there, and then he's got a legitimate news organization, the Washington Post, but then you have something like Musk, and he has social media,
It's got
you know,
X.
Vox, Vox
Yeah.
Populi, right? That, as he calls it, or yeah, he has some term for it that he used in a tweet the other day. But it did move the needle and make people, vote against that
Okay,
budget
let's
deal.
get into it. Get into it. Why?
Yeah.
Who were the people who voted against it?
Well, mostly it was the people who voted against it were MAGA types who were ultra conservative, and didn't want to extend the budget ceiling, and also Democrats voted against it, right?
Yeah, I first.
Oh, wait, the first time you're talking
Yeah,
about the first time, that was the first time it was a bipartisan deal. So the people who voted against it were people who were scared that they would be primaried by Elon Musk and all his money. And
okay. And so, why would they be scared of that? Why would they automatically assume that if they were primaried, it would really threaten their positions? Literally, that they would lose their seat in Congress.
well, if they didn't want to be seen in opposition, and they wanted their jobs. I mean, that's the big thing.
They don't want to be primaried because the threat of a primary is definitely a risk of losing the job. That means that they fear that there are people who could actually run a successful campaign.
Yeah.
Why do they fear that a successful campaign in a primary could be run against them?
Well, I mean, look, they're there. A lot of those people who voted are your basic. Well, they're not. They may not be MAGA Republicans, all of them,
That's right.
but they're conservatives, and they fear they run a MAGA Republican against them, and
Okay.
they
Let's
they lose.
let's investigate
Notice,
that. You
no-
raised a couple of things that I want to get clear. I really dislike using the term conservative, and I try to check against myself, and then you use the term ultra conservative, which is probably more correct.
Yeah, well, they're more extreme right. Like for example, one of the leaders who votes against, who is against, uh, the bills that have been brought up, is Chip Roy. I mean,
Yes,
he was for the
the
bipartisan effort,
bipartisan bill.
but he's been speaking out. And actually, Chip Roy is one of those unusual types. He's from Texas. He's a MAGA type, but but actually, he was a DeSantis
Yeah,
supporter.
he wasn't an absolute MAGA type. Well, I don't even want to
He's
say
conservative
he,
enough. I mean,
yeah, he was conservative enough to qualify for that.
yeah,
Okay,
but
here it is. Chip Roy is closer to being a traditional conservative, okay,
yeah,
than he is a MAGA or a an extreme rightist. Okay,
yeah,
most of the people that are now not necessarily pro-Trump, but
mhm,
that bend the knee to Trump. That is not being pro-Trump. That is saying we know that he's got the power to be able to remove us, have us removed from office. Okay,
mhm,
electorally or otherwise, right? They could dig up dirt on him and Gates them.
yeah,
Turn all of the kind of stuff that was turned on to Gates, which is all factual, right? And it was supposed to be released this week. What happened to that?
yeah,
Right? Both
yeah.
sides agreed we're going to release
I thought it's
that
coming.
all the information we have on Gates, and it didn't come out.
Yeah, I mean, but most of it came out and was leaked, or not leaked, but the talk of it coming out and Gates responding. I mean, the urgency of it is not
Put the
not
report
there.
out. You said you were going to put the report out. Put the freaking report out.
I'd like
You
to see
know?
the report come out because maybe it will serve to issue the warning so that Gates never serves in a public capacity again. I mean, he can do everything he wants. He can have his OnlyFans page. He can do anything else.
I care less about Gates because he's done. But you're right. You don't want to guard against him occupying some other office. Okay.
Yeah.
But look, some Republicans are actually suggesting that Elon Musk be the Speaker of the House
Oh,
because
I
they've
know.
discovered that you don't have to be elected to Congress. You don't have to be a member of Congress to be the Speaker.
Yeah,
And
Rand
so
Paul.
they
Rand
actually
Paul
suggested
is.
that. Now,
Yeah.
see, that is not even traditional conservatism, is it?
No,
You
it's
gotta. What is real conservatism?
well. Look,
Traditional conservatism is very simply ideologically you're for capitalism, right? That's the system.
yeah,
You're for, and they call it a free market, which it isn't, right?
yeah,
They say it's about free and fair competition, which it isn't, okay? But it is capitalism. So is there such a thing as bad capitalism as opposed to good capitalism?
yeah,
Yes, but how do you measure that? What is good? What is bad? That's number one. Number two, what is a conservative? Not only about the economic situation, it's about values. It's about morals, right? It's about patriotism and nationalism. The two of those things together, not separate, right? Right? Not criticizing people who are being patriotic but being critical as being not un-American. That's what they do. That's what
yeah,
conservatives do.
yeah.
Okay. And
Yep.
then they'd say, we're nationalistic. Okay. Well, nationalism is problematic because it says we do what's best for this nation, wrong or right. That's
Yeah.
nationalism. That is
Yeah.
not patriotism.
And
Okay.
it's all different from Trumpism, which is we do what's right for Donald Trump and only Donald Trump. That
and,
that that's
and then
the
they
real
label
problem.
it as populism. Then they say it's populism. It
Yeah.
is not
Yeah.
populism. People keep doing this stuff with the terms like conservatism, populism, socialism. They keep using these terms in ways that are absolutely in many usages, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely contrary to the reality.
It
Okay.
is.
So
It is.
most of the people that are bending the knee are not ideologically right wingers. They're not ideological. They're just
They
they have been reduced to protozoa, being
they want to
protozoa in
win.
a freaking jar, right?
It's whatever. They'll do whatever they need to do to win. And right
Or
now,
stay in office. That's
yeah.
it.
What we're seeing though is we're seeing Trump is not ideological.
No,
He's all
no.
transactional. But we will see how he degenerates in this lame duck term because he's showing that he doesn't. Well, not he doesn't know how things work. Musk doesn't know how things work. the people he has in his office that he had, all the Project 2025 people and, his chief of staff, they all know how it works, but they
Yes,
can't
they
control
do.
him. They can't control Trump because he's like shiny new object. Let's go this way. Let's go this way. Let's do this. And
Well, I
I
agree with you. I agree with you. That's what's happening. That really is what's happening. They do know how it works. However, what they
yeah
want to do is change how it works in the most radical ways that, once again, are not conservative. They're
yeah
doing things that are radically extreme. That's what they're trying to do.
yeah.
Okay. The only time that people seem to understand the application of the term radical and extremism is when it applies to the left. And
Oh yeah.
the entirety of American history shows that the left has always been disadvantaged. And the entire history of American society and societies all over the world show that humanistic progressive change comes from the left.
Hey, hey,
However,
hey,
so
hey, Dan,
put
Dan,
the two together.
I hate to interrupt you, but we must swish because this breaking news:
Oh
House
boy.
approved stopgap funding bill hours ahead of shutdown deadline. So we're not going to get a shutdown. I'm sorry
Ah,
to
man, what a
disappoint you.
bummer. I wanted a shutdown.
I'm sorry. The new legislation, let's see, the new legislation, what does it say? Would keep the government open, but did not include the debt ceiling increase that President-elect Donald Trump had demanded. It now goes to the Senate. Now this is important because the debt ceiling was so that Donald Trump wanted the debt ceiling so he could pass these budget cuts and benefit all his friendly billionaires, namely Elon Musk. Right now the debt ceiling will have to be dealt with on Biden's watch, and then people can see what a hypocrite that Trump is. Because Trump has to figure out for himself what's important, and maybe by then he'll figure out that he doesn't want to be a puppet president, and he doesn't want to placate Elon Musk, but placate the American public. And Trump will be he'll be he'll be in fine fettle, as they say, as long as the price of eggs stays modest. Price of eggs stays low.
That's
The price of eggs.
I can't. That's not going to happen. I mean, the bird flu is going to spread across the country, and it's just going to get worse in states where there's a lot of chicken production. Right? There's
Yes,
going it's about chicken production. So
that will be bad. But like I said, if he can somehow get artificial eggs or get people to eat artificial eggs, because that's what people are reacting to. Look, I always said that the whole thing about being a vegan, you can like bypass all those inflationary things. But I bought fake cheese the other day. My fake cheese, 40% higher. 40% higher. 40%. Oh my God, 40%. Thank goodness I didn't vote for Donald Trump. Anyway, so we got no shutdown, and he said he spoke. Mike Johnson, the speaker, said he spoke with Trump and Elon Musk about the legislation within the last hour, and he said he knew exactly what we're doing and why, and this is a good outcome for the country. So it seems that Donald Trump and Elon Musk are admitting they knew nothing about being legislators or about how bills are passed, and they let's see, 366 to 34 is the lawmakers vote. All 34, the only lawmakers voting to oppose the bill, all 34 are Republicans. I wonder
yeah. I'm looking for the names. I just
Yeah.
want to see how crazy are they.
Why would they? Who would want a shutdown? Democrats highlight a casualty of the spending fight: funding to combat pediatric cancer.
There you go.
So pediatric cancer, they lose.
So the Republicans didn't want to fund research on pediatric cancer, research and treatment. That's all you got to do. You just got to keep saying that stuff. You just got to keep putting it out there, okay? And I don't know. the problem is this, what we covered already, the sourcing of information to the American public. They're already at a disadvantage because none of them, the majority of people never had Econ 100 or 101, right?
Yeah.
Okay. One of the complaints of Thomas Jefferson was that the population at the time of the formation of the Constitution did not understand currency. And what he meant was they didn't understand the economy. That was
Yeah.
one of his major complaints.
Yeah.
Okay. He also was a guy who said the only way a democracy works is to have a high level of information available to the public, to the electorate,
Yeah.
to voters. Okay. We're not getting that. So how much of a democracy are we living in right now? And I feel that we have been in a declining democracy in terms of the not even ideal, but
Yeah.
just a moderately informed public engaging in political process. That hasn't happened in 60 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so here we have a situation where, we don't have, we have a legislative, the Congress. Well, we'll have to see what happens to the Senate. The Senate's going to vote for it, so it's going to pass. Government's going to stay open. We're going to have the military is going to be paid. The federal workers are going to be paid. Everyone who relies on a monthly check, they'll be happy. But the debt ceiling, they kicked that down the road. That'll happen sometime during Trump's watch, and that'll be interesting to see what kind of fight happens there. And meanwhile, Joe Biden didn't have to say a damn thing, and he shouldn't have, really. I mean, it really was a matter of the Republicans fighting themselves. Now, Musk is quoted. In a full circle moment, Elon Musk, who barraged the first spending deal with a torrent of criticism on X, just posted on the platform that Johnson, quote, did a good job here given the circumstances. It went from a bill that weighed pounds to a bill that weighed ounces. So Musk is indicating that he's the guy who's the cutter. Well, if he's such a cutter, I'd like to see him give away his Teslas to poor people. And when more poor people drive Teslas, I'll buy everything that Elon Musk says. But I doubt that Elon Musk is that kind of an egalitarian. So anyway, so that's where we talked. You see, Dan, we had a Filipino filibuster here where he talked long enough for the government to pass a bill to avoid a shutdown.
Well, I'm kind of disappointed. I wanted the American public to be scared, okay, and they're not going to be scared now.
We're scared enough. Don't you think we're scared enough?
They're not scared enough. No, they're not. They're not even right now. They're semi-conscious. They're more concerned about planning for whatever the holidays have in store for them, and so we have to wait until after New Year's to see whether or not they understand what the hell is going on. And of course, in some instances, it's going to be too late, right? So I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that Biden could do. There's a lot of discussion on gross level of pardons. There's some discussion on passing executive authority that could block some of the things that Trump would do by executive authority. And it would only slow it down. It wouldn't block it permanently, right? Because all he would have to do is just undo it or get congressional support. That's where the key is. What if you want to really mess with the Republicans and you want to mess with Trump, the thing to do is to aim at stuff that he can't get done without congressional support. That's what you got to do. And
because he's going to do everything by executive order.
Yes,
because he doesn't need Congress, but. And some of the Democrats are afraid that Congress is going to move for some kind of constitutional convention to change the Constitution. That's okay. That's a real fear.
Well, and that's a legitimate fear.
Yeah.
Okay. And there are enough states that would go along with it.
Right.
You got to have 3/4 of all of the states, right?
And they'll go after birthright citizenship. They'll go after.
Sure. Sure. So I don't know. Are they going to try to do that retroactively so that you and I are no longer citizens?
I don't know. Well, that's right. Just because we were born here doesn't mean that we're citizens.
Well, we are citizens under the 14th Amendment, but
Yeah,
you
but
know,
if
so
our parents weren't citizens,
yeah, yeah. So,
yeah,
but now it's unconstitutional to do ex post facto application of the law. So they
mm,
changed the law, and what I asked was, could they go back and say we reject all these people who were born here, right, as automatic citizens? Okay, it would be unconstitutional, but they're going to still put this in front of the courts.
yeah.
Okay, now,
And,
okay, I
and
want
the
to
other,
I want to go back to do one thing that's really important, Emil.
what's that?
Why is it that the Republicans and Musk can effectively threaten people with primaries? Why is that an effective threat? Okay. Why
Should
is it that I mean,
should it
and why
shouldn't be?
is it that Musk is even at Mar-a-Lago hanging out? And why is it that he can say, "I think there ought to be a government shutdown. That would be a good thing until Donald Trump is sworn in as president." Right? Why
Look,
can he do that?
it's an effective threat because when you have the richest man in the world, that's like
There you
having
go.
a car with unlimited
There
gasoline,
you go.
right? It drives all day,
We
drives all
need
day,
to say that. We need to say that. We need to say that it's just because he's got the money.
and he's rich, and this brings up, you know, it's a class thing, right? It's the rich helping the rich, and he's the ultra rich, and it's no longer the debate used to be class and race, because
And
now
and they still are linked. They're still linked right now.
I know, but the thing is class, and class trumps race. People aren't as concerned with DEI and civil rights. So it's the new dividing line that you read all the things and you say, well, you see the election in 2024, the new dividing line is education, educational attainment, college. We mentioned it earlier. If you have college, you're usually voting Democrat. That's the dividing line. And who is out there to embrace those with non-college? The Republicans. The Republicans love the non-college. Because they vote Republican. The
Well,
non-college.
and that's why some of the unions have been Trumpers. That's why
Yeah,
some of the unions support Republicans in their home states.
yeah.
Okay.
If you're non-college, and here's the thing: just when more people of color are going to college, the
They
white
killed DEI.
right.
They wanted to do the same thing with women.
Right.
What did they do in California with Proposition 209?
Yeah. Well, the
You know,
thing is, women are the ones who go to college and graduate from college, and
that's
so
been true for 40, almost 50
well,
years. That
and
more women have gone to college, completed college, and gotten better jobs,
and
better incomes, etc.
and that's why instead of class, instead of race, college has dawned on people as, oh, this is the new dividing line in America: college or no
Well,
college.
well, it's an
Because
existing dividing line, and they've made it more of a dividing line by guaranteeing that college is so friggin' expensive,
oh yeah,
even when it's supplied by the responsibility of the state. Okay, it's a state responsibility. Okay,
yeah.
primarily.
But see, this is the thing. It should be, if it's so expensive, it should ace out, or should eliminate all the people of color. But the people of color are getting in. They're getting scholarships. They're getting into the expensive colleges and the regular colleges, the state and community colleges. But it's still the
Well,
dividing line
okay,
between.
it is, but what people, the thing, I think we talked about this maybe a couple of shows back,
Yeah.
but I said, has anybody noticed how supernumerary active elected officials of South Asian, of
Oh
Indian
yeah,
ethnicity are, right?
yeah,
And this is something that you and I know we've witnessed develop ever since the 70s, right?
yeah, yeah.
And that was the beginning of things. I mean, especially when they established Patelco, right? And they said, "Oh, okay."
Hey, but the thing is, just because they're it, they go to college, it doesn't mean they're necessarily Democrat, or well, they
That's
do vote
it.
Democrat.
There
Yeah,
you go.
yeah, they
Because
do vote
once
Democrat.
they, well, then your argument about class becomes very clear,
Yeah,
right? It's about where are they supernumerary? Among the people, right, who have big bucks and they identify with Republican and they identify with billionaires. Okay, now from my point of view, university point of view, there are large numbers of
Yeah.
South Asians and
Yeah.
Indian Americans particularly that have now gotten PhDs and they are leaders, academic leaders at the best institutions throughout the country, right?
Yeah.
State, university level, as well as state, local level, right?
Yeah.
Private universities, okay. And then when you look at, look at CNN's experts, right?
Yeah.
When they have medical experts on, look at MSNBC's medical experts when they have those on. Look at CBS when they have medical experts. A lot of times it's the same people, and it's South Asians.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so there.
It's a new stereotype. It's a new stereotype.
How do you think racist white America feels about that?
Oh, they feel left out. They feel left out. They feel
left out. They feel threatened.
Yeah, yeah, they're threatened. Of course they are. But that's where that's where the embrace comes to the non-college whites.
Yeah,
we're going to bring you into the white fold.
You
the
can't
non-college whites. Come here, non-college whites.
You know what I say whenever any of the Asian experts show up, whether they're Chinese, Filipino, Vietnamese, Korean, Japanese American, South Asian, Southeast Asian. You know what I say?
What?
We're the white doctors.
The white doctor.
I want a white doctor. I want a doctor I can trust.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want a white doctor.
Yeah.
Well, what is your family doing? What is your neighborhood doing? What is your city doing, to try and prepare people with STEM education, right? Science, technology education at the grammar school, middle school, high school level to prepare them for college so that they can become, doctors, medical professionals.
I'm sorry, Dan. You're not going to get a white doctor, but you might get a white guy doing HVAC and plumbing. They'll help your plumbing.
Okay.
They'll help your. Actually, even the Indians are going into transport, into logistics. They're driving the trucks now.
Yeah, that's right.
Doing the trucks, and I think it's a
that's a move up. That's a move up. That's like gotta get. That's like Pakistani cab drivers.
Yeah,
right?
But I
in
think
New York,
it's an early entree before they get to AI.
Here it is.
Because then they get their Indian brothers in tech.
No, that's true.
The AI.
Well, and then what does that lead to? Okay, they pair up with some South Asians that got money. Okay, and they start car dealerships and trunk dealerships.
And also up and down 99 and 5, you get the South Asian fast food, the South Asian diners.
That's true.
Instead of Anderson's pea soup, forget that. Get the curry in there. Get the curry in there. Get the dal.
I know, and so we as well experienced Asian Americans, right? We came up during the time when people said, "What's a Filipino? Where's Filipinos from?" Okay, and then we got called chinks and Japs and gooks and all the rest. So we're coming through all of that experience and coming up and rejoicing in the fact that we could get all these different kind of ethnic foods now, right? And our thing is, what do you think about the quality of that food? Was it authentic? Was it really good? Was it lava? And so we're all getting really picky about the quality of this ethnic food, while everybody else is. Remember when people wouldn't eat sushi? Raw fish. What?
How about the sushi you get? Like there's sushi you get at the sushi restaurant.
Yeah.
And then there's a sushi you get at like Safeway. The Safeway sushi. Oh, you can't get Safeway sushi. The prepackaged Safeway sushi.
Yeah, prepackaged.
Is that Japanese? Is that authentic? And then if you go to the restaurants, you got the sushi that prepared by the master, or the ones that you find on the boats that are like going around the table. And
that's right.
You got to have like the guy's got to like chop it.
You can be at the bar. Yeah. No, one of our favorite places, man. The master chef is Roger, a great guy.
Yeah.
Aging, I think he's probably going to retire soon, unfortunately. But it's one of our absolute favorite sushi joints in San Francisco. Is on the moderately high side, but the quality is just outstanding, man. And
Yeah.
his level of creativity, right,
Yeah.
is really outstanding. And the guy can tell when somebody is, even if they're a stranger, he can
Yeah.
tell by what they order, you know, if they're really good, if they're really aficionados. And
Yeah.
and the last time we were there, we couldn't get, the bar was crowded. They have a very limited bar. I think they only have about space for like 8 people at a
Yeah.
time, and so they don't like setting up reservations for any more than 4 people at a time. And so we had 5 people, so we had to sit with the great unwashed masses in the larger restaurant area, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so we ordered up, and he says, "Who ordered this?" And so the omakase, the omakase that they ordered is really excellent. And he comes out and he sees us and he goes, "Oh, he goes, it's so good to see some of the our old traditional customers, because nowadays all we're seeing is these young people."
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, and I like I like a sushi bar if they have. Well, I don't eat sushi anymore, but when I did years ago, the cool ones were the off menu items. If they had the off
Yes,
menu items,
yes,
then you have a real sushi bar. Like if they serve like collar
right,
or the cheek or
yeah, yeah,
something like that,
oh yeah.
and they grill the cheek or the that now that's a sushi bar.
Those are the only places we eat sushi. Those are the only places we go to eat sushi. There's a place on 24th Street, man, Kazan, and they do that. They got this sashimi bowl,
Yeah,
right? That looks unreal, and it would be really scary. I think I remember this time when Hayakawa invited us to a lunch, and he had the Filipino president of UP as the guest speaker at the upcoming graduation. And he asked 3 people. He invited 3 people, members of PACE, to attend the luncheon with him. And he had his whole staff, and their wives, all
uh,
white, okay, and lined it up at one of the best sushi restaurants at the time in San Francisco,
yeah.
Yamato's, right on the
I remember
corner.
Yamato's. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was on Geary. No.
no, California and California and Grant.
Oh, okay. I went to a place called Kabuto. Remember
Yeah,
Kabuto?
yeah, I do. I do
Geary.
remember that.
It was
Yeah,
good.
Matos. This place was high end, man, and so I wasn't going to turn that invitation down. So
Yeah,
so we went and we used it to our political advantage. I don't want to talk about that, but we did.
yeah,
We were successful. The funnest part was that when all of this food came out, and it was, as you say, creatively presented,
yeah,
not the typical stuff that you get right at a Japanese restaurant.
yeah,
And it's all coming down, and I'm at one end, right, of this long table.
yeah,
I'm on the end. People are sitting, cross-legged or with their shoes off, in the footwell, right? And all this food is coming down, and they're asking me, "What is it?" And I said, "Well, it's kind of hard to disguise something that has tentacles, right? So if it has tentacles,
Hey,
and, they,
hey, so,
and they're
that's
looking at this stuff, they're not going to eat it. They're not
yeah.
going to eat this thing with I said, just pass it on down.
It
I
was
said, if you
that's
don't
how
want to eat it, pass it on down.
did Hayakawa go with you? Was
Oh
he there?
yeah, he was on the other
Oh,
end of the table.
did Hayakawa, because he's infamous for this? Did he like nod off and fall
Oh
asleep?
no, he stayed awake.
Oh, because
Yeah, no, he stayed. I,
because
I didn't know if he
he
nodded
was
off. He
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 was
was he was busy describing each of the dishes as they came
ah
out.
because Hayakawa was narcoleptic.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, we called him the sleeper. That was his nickname at State.
This,
And everybody denied it. All of the people that voted for him, and mostly from Southern California, they all denied it. They said that's just bullshit. That's propaganda. That's commie propaganda. So then he had his term, and he got in. He got a 6-year term in the Senate. Guess what his nickname was after his first year? It was the sleeper.
The sleeper. Yeah, I know. S.I. Hayakawa. May he rest in peace, I guess. Huh?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, there was an Asian American academic.
And well, there were a lot of them actually,
Yeah.
and all 12 of the other Japanese American academics on the campus,
Yeah.
said that this guy does not speak for our community.
Yeah, but he was an econ. Well, he was how would you put it nicely? He was a unique individual with his tam o'shanter and his narcolepsy and his
Well, yeah.
conservatism.
Well, that stuff is all, the narcolepsy was a negative, but the tam o'shanter was branding, right? I mean, it was his thing.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
what
like having a
he was
gong
an
bar.
excellent fencer. He was
Oh,
an
he was a
excellent
fencer.
Yes, yes.
Wow,
Very good.
I guess he would. I could imagine him if I can imagine him moving. Yeah. On guard.
he was
Yeah.
he was
Asian,
quite good.
yeah,
You know.
Asian. I fenced. I fenced in high
Yeah,
school.
yeah.
I fenced,
I,
and
I,
it was great because I worked in the ranch and I put up and I kept all the hogs in with the fencing.
Yeah, so
No,
you were very
actual
experienced
fencing.
with fencing with barbed wire. Yeah, yeah.
Actual fencing. I fenced.
Right, right.
Oh, fencing. Oh, with Barbara. So he interned? Was he
No,
a
no, no. Well,
No.
he escaped internment, right?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he escaped internment.
Oh.
And I it's a weird story. I got
Another
to look it
day.
up.
Another
I
day.
don't want to get lost in that stuff. But the important consideration is the
Yeah.
society has changed that much from a society that refused to be engaged in eating anything that looked raw. And I told them that stuff is cooked. Everything that's coming down in these bowls, this is cooked, right? So you don't have to have any fear. Just try it out. Just taste it, right?
Yeah.
And I said, I'll tell you if it's kind of raw. And I said, they're not going to serve that to you because they know that that's not within your taste limits. I said, sadly, right? But that's it. So,
All right.
so look how much has changed. Now all of a sudden it's a she thing, right? And then remember when people poo-pooed or early Chinese, food, Chinese American food, Chinese American restaurants, and then they started going for, of course, Szechuan, right? We're gonna go with the hot stuff, and we're gonna go with Hakka, we're gonna go with all of this Hunan, we're gonna do all this, and then all of a sudden they all come back and they say, there's a lot of depth to Cantonese cooking, it's like, and I'm saying, oh my God,
come back to chow mein, chop
we
suey.
were raised on that stuff. Yeah, but that's only if you're white. You think it's chow mein, egg foo young, and chicken fried rice, and what is it? Tomato beef. That's what. So white people don't know, okay? But all of the stuff that we were eating that chases people away, because it's funky, we've been eating that for years, and now it's in, right? It's a hip thing now, So, okay,
All
good.
Right. Dan. All right, we're winding down here.
Oh, why?
I do want to mention this one thing.
What?
This is the headline. Biden withdraws proposed regulations on student loans and trans athletes. So we're seeing the undoing of the Biden, all the things that Biden wanted to do. He hasn't talked anything about, the shutdown or stopping the shutdown. And because what can he do? It's really Trump's, it's really the Republicans imploding there. But what Biden has been doing is he's been withdrawing these proposals on student loans and trans athletes. They were going to put all these new rules to protect trans athletes, and now it's all gone. And they had no chance, but it sort of is preparing us for a world that we're going to get into. That Biden was going to try to make it better.
Yeah. Okay. What we were hoping for and what we were taught as kids, right? That government is there to do good things, to protect the interests of the people. Okay.
Yeah.
So they connected us to the safety of government, from the cop on the street, right? The policeman is your friend, all that, all the way up to your elected officials, right? Are elected because they understand what needs to be done for the best interests of the general public, for the people at large. Okay. And then we started to see that fall apart very easily, especially because of the Vietnam War. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was one of the big challenges. The other one was the civil rights movement. We saw the resistance to the civil rights movement. We saw violence being committed by people who did not want racial integration in their local schools. Okay,
Yeah.
and that clearly marked us because we were being told that this society is based on people's rights, constitutional rights, right, equality and freedom. And here we are, knowing, and I knew that it wasn't fair. Right, when we're getting those social science newsletters every month, they would come out. In schools to get the and and then they had an article on farm workers, and the
Yeah.
article said that the farm laborers do this and that, and they're unskilled labor,
Yeah.
right? They call them unskilled labor. Now, I lived part of my life on a nursery farm. Well, it was both a farm and a nursery in Colma. It was the biggest nursery in Northern California. It was Golden Gate Nursery. Okay, Italian owned, right? The Gus and Ted were the Italian owners. The crew was predominantly Filipino, especially the anchor crew, and there were Mexicans.
Nope.
Excuse me, who would come in as part of the Bracero program.
Yeah.
There were two things going on at the same time with the Bracero program. One, these people were brought in as seasonal labor, and then they were told you got to go back, right? Once your contract is over. All right. Well, what are the two groups that were actually forced out of the country, that would attempted to be forced out of the country in the history of the United States? Number one was the Mexicans. They started rounding them up. They actually used military at that time, right? They used National Guard and some military to round people up and send them back down to the border and push them back across. The other group was Filipinos, but they made that voluntary.
Voluntary.
Right? In 1935. Yes.
Yeah.
But we were subject to exclusion. All right.
Right.
Now,
Right.
now that also, once again, it came from conservatives, but the conservatives were the Democrats.
Ah.
Okay. So what people don't understand is that there were conservatives in both parties, right? And the true conservative were the people who believed in white America. Okay. That
Uh-huh.
that this society was established by white people. It was made rich and powerful by white people, and white people should rule. That's it. That's conservative racism. That's it right there.
And
Now,
that was in order in the 30s, and I guess it's coming back to that.
well, I just want to show that there are parallels from history, okay, that can easily be aligned with contemporary circumstances. Okay. So we want the people for their work, their labor, because they're cheap.
Yeah.
But we don't want them to become members of the society, and we don't want them to become permanent residents, much less citizens. That's the attitude now. They've
And
gone even further. They want to
yeah.
get rid of birthright citizenship.
Right.
Okay.
And the thing is, I know some people who work at Tesla, and they will say, "Oh, it's great that Tesla has a plant out in the Central Valley," but they hire all these people. They're like H-1B on H-1B visas,
Yeah.
and then they bring them in on special visas, and then they don't hire them permanently.
Right.
Right? They send them back,
Right.
which is like a documented undocumented.
Right.
It's sort of like you can be documented for a while. Now you're going back.
Well,
So
what I find an interesting question is, why was Tesla able to get so many H-1Bs? Because at least 10 years ago, H-1B was just you could apply from a foreign country, and if you qualified, you could come in, right? But
yeah.
they had to show that you were linked to a job, right? That
Yeah.
there was an employer. Okay. They then turned it into a lottery.
Oh
And
yeah,
that
yeah.
screwed everything up. I mean, it was right around the time that we were starting to get warnings about the possibility of a recession. Okay. So we're
Yeah.
around 2006, 2007, 2008. It turned into a lottery. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's even more difficult to get into the country as an H-1B. So
Yeah.
why is it that Tesla was able to get so many people on H-1B. That's right. That's clean. So
Money
we're
and
back to the other question
influence.
again. We're
Yeah,
back to the question as to why is Musk or any other billionaire such a threat? And the answer ultimately is the U.S. Supreme Court. Citizens United.
money,
Money.
money,
With
and
Citizens United, they set up black money, dark money
dark money.
possibility.
I mean, there's no way that someone could have contributed
That's
$350 million to
right.
the government.
What the hell is that?
But
That's okay.
that's corporate control of government, and that's why the move to privatization, because everyone wants to make a profit off government, and that's why Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk forming this Doge baloney, Doge, which means Duke, and I know medieval Italy or something. The whole idea about that coin, Doge is the name of the coin, the Department of Government Efficiency. It's to handpick, right? It's to pick all
That's
the
right.
things that private enterprise can go in and do
Exactly.
instead of government.
Right.
It's
So
more,
this
it's
is
to profit. It's to make profit off, what's government now, what's public, because this is part of their idea of the disruption of American government, which is going in and saying, hey, that's not a public thing, that's not a government thing, that's a private thing, and we
that's
can
right.
make profit off that. And
That's right.
that's the new disruption, right? The disruption of corporate America was technology. The disruption of government is privatization, and
That's right.
the tech bros are leading this profit charge. And then, of course, they are doing all this with the help of AI.
Yeah.
I mean, they see AI as the future, and AI is the what is the term? The dehumanizing of government, the dehumanizing of everything. Really?
Dehumanization. Yeah.
Yeah,
It
and
is. It
that's
is.
where we're going, my friend.
I'm working with it because I know my students are going to use it. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm working with it because I have to. Okay.
yeah,
But so the best that I can do is encourage them to think independently, and they might want to use AI as a guide. But we're trying to set up a system where we can instantly tell. We used to, the system that we have detects certain forms of redundancy that indicate plagiarism.
yeah,
But
yeah.
but we do not have a system that can detect whether or not something was developed by AI rather than by the student's independent thought
That's it.
process.
That's the thing. AI makes everyone sound better than they are.
Yeah.
And in some ways, that's good that you get like this automatic editor. But here's where I love AI. Because some people think, oh, Emil, he needs constant reinforcement. His fragile ego.
Yeah.
So I go to AI and I ask it questions like, "Is Emil Guillermo a good guy?" And AI, it's good. This is what AI says.
Oh my
Emil,
God.
Emil Guillermo is a widely
You're
respected
re-
as a
you're
journalist.
reminding me of all of the people that I use the word hate guardedly, right?
Yeah,
But people who for me personally
yeah,
uh, deserve perhaps something akin to hate,
yeah, oh,
but
yeah,
from me personally is people who can't tell the story without one injecting themselves into the story, right? It's one thing to say I have a first person perspective, right, and
yeah,
being honest about it, but it's
yeah,
another thing to go ahead and say this story is about Mr. X, okay, and
yeah,
the thing that I see about Mr. X that's important is his history and his contribution to this community, etc., right? And
yeah,
then you get out with and I remember when we had this conversation and
yeah,
I, was in it all the way, and we and so we ended up being best of friends, and
yeah,
and to this day, right? We
yeah.
that I can't stand that. All right.
Yeah. This
Now
is not. This is. I'm embracing AI. I'm saying,
there's
hey.
somebody no, there's somebody that's worse than that.
Oh
It's
yeah.
the people who make shit up, and that's the
Oh, the
danger.
liars.
The
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 liars.
danger of AI. Exactly. They
All right.
exaggerate their own relationship to the story,
All
right?
right. All
In
right.
a
But all
way
right.
that
Okay.
benefits them
But
exclusively.
this is different. I am embracing AI. I'm saying I look to AI as, like I said, to reinforce my fragile ego. So I asked it, is Emil Guillermo a good guy? And
No,
it says,
this is well beyond blow up dolls, dude.
yeah,
I mean,
it says
I
Emil
don't know
Guillermo.
what you're embracing, but
It
this
says Emil
Catino.
Guillermo is widely respected as a journalist, author, and advocate for social justice. He often uses his platform to discuss issues related to Asian American identity, civil rights, and social equity. Many people admire his work for its thoughtfulness and advocacy for underrepresented voices. It says, as with anyone, opinions about him can vary, depending
Okay.
depending on individual perspectives. But his contributions to journalism and social commentary have earned him a solid reputation as someone committed to meaningful and impactful work. If you're looking to understand more about his character, his essays and public speaking engagements provide a good sense of his values and motivation. So I'm just saying,
That's pretty
you know,
friggin' good. That is pretty friggin' good. I think
I'm
it's
just,
fair. I think
I'm
it's a
just
fair
saying,
statement.
yeah. When you look at AI, I don't try to use it for anything serious, but whenever I need a jolt, like, is Emil Guillermo a funny comedian? It says
Uh-oh.
Emil,
Uh-oh.
it says Emil Guillermo is primarily known as a journalist, commentator, and storyteller, but he does have a comedic side. His his humor often comes through in his storytelling, particularly when he performs live or incorporates satire into his commentary. And then it goes on. But I'm
Yeah.
telling you, AI to write, uh, you know, uh, PR releases or a short bio where you don't want to write it
Yeah, no,
yourself.
it's really good.
Chat GPT
It's
is
really
good for that.
useful.
Yeah.
No, I
Anyway,
use it differently because of, my I teach.
well, you got
But
to
I'll ask it, for example, for a list of the most recent books written by academics, right? Like tenured professors, right,
yeah.
on a given subject, and it'll give me a list of bibliography, and you can check on it. You can check to see whether or not it works. Um,
You're the thing is, people don't understand how much you can ask AI or how much you can ask something like Chat GPT
yeah,
because it's. I mean, this is how you get prompt engineers. You can ask Chat GPT to do anything for you, like design of this or design of that. I mean,
yep,
it's really amazing that and it does it like that, like
yeah.
in
Construct a
seconds.
chart, construct a simple chart. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, man. That stuff is really good. I hated forming charts, even with the assistance of Microsoft software. I,
yeah.
I I hated forming charts, and
But
so
sorry,
you can get a basic Venn diagram and all that kind of stuff. You can ask it to construct one
yeah.
involving three different factors, and it'll do it.
Yeah, or design me a course syllabus for this. Boom, just get it in a minute, and and you could use it as a base. But this is the thing. It can be a time saver or maybe a spark plug. So as much as I hate ChatGPT and AI, there's parts of it that when used well
Yeah,
and used ethically, use
I don't
ethically.
hate it. I don't hate it. I'm surprised you say hate because I don't hate
All
it.
right,
It's just another tool.
another tool,
It's another
another
tool, but it's a tool that has a set of capabilities that can be problematic
in the
because
wrong hands. In the wrong
well,
hands.
even in the right hands, even
Oh,
in the right hands, because if there's a certain modality that is more accessible, right, as data, right,
oh,
than another modality, it will include that even if it's incorrect. That's the
oh, yeah.
problem.
Well, that's the
It
thing.
can
Sometimes
include bad data.
it can be wrong. You're right. I at
There it
one
is.
time I asked ChatGPT, has Emil Guillermo ever been the host at NPR's All Things Considered? And he said Emil Guillermo has never been.
Right
Uh,
on.
and like
I
how
asked it.
far back?
I asked it for a list of all Chinese Americans who have served on the San Francisco Board of Supervisors,
Yeah.
and it left out two names.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I Tom Shea, I bet, right?
No, it mentioned Tom Shea.
Gordon, what's his name?
Yeah, it
Gordon
mentioned
Chin. Gordon Chin.
yeah,
Is it
Gordon
Chin?
Chin, but George, I forgot George's last name, but
George.
he was actually appointed, and then he lost his re-election, right?
Oh, someone I know asked if
And
Julie.
the other one was Mabel Tang. It didn't mention Mabel
Oh,
Tang.
Mabel Tang. Yeah, I like Mabel. Someone mentioned uh, uh, Julie Sue, the acting
Yeah,
Secretary of Labor, and uh, the they thought because ChatGPT said that Julie Sue would be the first Asian American Secretary of Labor, and I said, "Oh, wait a minute, that's not right," because Elaine Chao
yeah,
under
that's
Bush
right.
was the secretary.
McConnell's wife.
McConnell's wife, yeah. So I mean, so it's not infallible, ChatGPT, which I think makes it human, right? I mean,
uh,
that is,
nice move, nice move. I
it
like it.
makes it human. Of
Okay,
course, of course, of course.
that's in the Christmas spirit right there.
In the
I
Christmas
like
spirit.
that.
All right, so Dan, we swish off, and I think it's time to say goodbye. But
Yeah.
I wanted to do this. I always say I'm going to do it on Patreon, and people can pick this up on Patreon. Patreon, patreon.com/ Emil Amok, or they can catch it now. I want to do a laughter yoga with you because I haven't done laughter yoga, but I'm going to do it, and that's laughter yoga for a minute. So
One
let's
full minute.
one full minute. Can we laugh? Because intentional laughter is the key to happiness. I'm serious about this. Intentional laughter, and laughing intentionally,
Okay.
the guffaw. So
I'm not
here
going
we
to do it as
go.
hard as
We're
you do
gonna
it.
have
You
the
know, I'm not going to do it as hard as you do it. I'm not going to laugh as hard because it makes me cough.
okay. We're gonna do it. We're gonna have the Emil milkshake. Eh, eh, eh.
I got more of a giggle than a laugh.
Oh, oh,
Last time I saw you laugh this hard, you had your zipper down. I can't stop now.
See,
What?
a minute and a half. Intentional laughter. I'm telling you, intentional laughter. It works.
I
The
can't, yeah, but I
endorphin.
can't stop now. Linda's gonna be looking at me like I'm nuts.
The endorphins, the
Oh, that was
dopamine,
good. That was good. I
serotonin.
gotta admit that was good.
It gets you going, and we can do it, and we can do it with like jokes. You tell a joke. Why did the chicken cross the road? And then I tell you, but intentional laughter where you say, screw the jokes, just laugh. It's better for you. It's better for you.
No, I got,
Ah,
who's the
that's a
shadow
workout.
president? Who is the shadow president?
Who is this?
Who's
Who
the
is the
shadow
puppet?
president?
No, who is the puppet president? The
Yeah,
shadow
yeah,
president.
yeah, yeah. You
The
like the puppet. I like the
I like
shadow.
the I like the puppet president because it makes
Yeah,
it
no,
sound like
you're more accurate actually. You're more accurate because of this puppetry. Also, the person who is the puppeteer wants to be known, even though they're not seen. They want
Right.
to be known. They want
Because
everybody to know I'm the
yeah,
guy manipulating. I'm the one person with the strings. I'm the
because
controller.
when you think about it, like, does Elon Musk really want to be part of government? He wants to
No,
influence
it's a
people.
hindrance.
It's
It's a hindrance.
boring. It's
The
boring.
reason they want to get rid of government is because it's a hindrance. And
Yeah,
that's exactly what government is supposed to do.
yeah.
Government is supposed to hinder people like Musk, not make him,
Ah,
10 times richer than the next guy,
ah,
billionaire,
that's such an important point. Government is intended to be the anti-corporate. It's in
It's
and
intended
people
to be a
corporate.
monitor of
Yeah,
economics. It's intended to be a monitor of power, of power.
right.
Okay?
Yeah, and this is the people's. This is the
This
people's
is it.
role.
This
This is where
is
the
it. It's
people.
supposed
Yeah,
a democratic government, and particularly the U.S. constitutional government, is supposed to be protecting the rights of the people. That's
yeah.
what it's for.
It's not to be corrupted by corporate interests, which is what it has been
That's it.
enabled by
What do you think
citizens.
that the majority of Americans know that it's rooted in Citizens United? That this Supreme
Well,
Court, even before they got a 6-3 majority, came down with Citizens United.
no, I
You know.
think it would be because if they knew about it, it's because they have read up and they know some history. But I would say the average American doesn't know Citizens United
Only
anymore.
only one president ever criticized it, and it was Obama.
Yeah,
Right
I
when it
would I
happened.
would I would say if you ask someone what Citizens United and they say, "Well, are they the latest team in the English Premier League?"
They sound like it. Yeah, yeah.
Citizens United, isn't it? That's where
That's
all the
interesting.
hooligans are out there with
Yeah,
their shirts and playing soccer.
yeah,
That's Citizens. No, that's not. That's it.
yeah,
The new MSL team, the new NWSL team, the new
yeah, yeah,
Tiffany Rodman's in
yeah,
it, Caitlin Clark's in it. No, no, no.
yeah.
That's a sad thing. That's a sad thing, Dan. We got the
Well, and
laughter yoga. Look, we're already in the euphoria of laughter yoga. We can't get back into
well, yeah. Well,
this.
the reason I felt so compelled to get us to that point where I could mention that case is
Yeah,
because that's one of the things that we have to go for. They
yeah.
have to. You can't get this Supreme Court to turn around on itself. That's not going to happen. But what
No.
you can do is put up legislation that eradicates Citizens United. That it just can't be done anymore. It's as
And
simple as that. It can be
maybe
done through Congress.
we get enough of those scared Republicans who who they jump at the term, oh, we're going to get primaried. No, you don't have to worry about getting primaried when
If you
everything is
take the
on a
money out,
neutral. Yeah, take the money out. You can't get primaried.
yep,
Damn, that's
that's it.
the basic. All
Well,
right.
but see, they want the money because they learned from the first Nixon loss to Kennedy that you got to be able to buy airtime, man. And now it's all social media.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Social media is the democratic form, the democratizing of the media, where you don't need to go on CBS or ABC. You don't get the big audiences, but you get out there. People want it. You hit some people. People get, you know. Yeah, the media is the media, but the media is not what it used to be
No,
when
it
it
is not. And
was a three network universe.
social media at this point, largely because of the guys that went and kissed the ring
Yeah,
wherever it was.
yeah, yeah.
That they have turned social media into propaganda machines, and they're not. It's not a singular propaganda machine.
No.
It's a multiple. It's a diverse propaganda machine.
Well, that's the thing. A propaganda machine. That's what it is. But
Yep. Yep.
that's the term for misinformation.
Yep.
Propaganda. All right, come on. Merry
Okay.
Christmas, Dan.
Hey,
Give
yeah,
me
no,
straight.
but I'm saying you can have a Merry Christmas if you focus on the need to overturn the effect of Citizens United.
All right,
Okay?
that's the Merry Christmas. In my stocking, I want to see the repeal of Citizens United. I
No,
want
no,
to see.
no. Legislation that makes the Citizens United renders the decision, right? Ineffective. Essentially, you say that there can be no contributions, dark money contributions, and you define it.
We are going to neuter Citizens United
There you
before
go.
your eyes. We're going to
Right.
rip it apart.
That's right.
That's it.
And by doing so, hopefully take a few scrotums in the Supreme Court with them,
That's it. And we'll feed it to the reindeer.
Right there.
Feed it to the
That's
reindeer.
right.
All right.
And make sure that they don't develop progeny that can continue that.
Exactly. Exactly.
All
That's
right,
exactly. All right. So we got the laughter yoga out. Dan,
Okay.
have a Merry Christmas.
Okay.
And we shall see you in before the new year.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely.
All right, man. There he goes.
Yeah. Have a great Christmas. Don't eat too much. Don't drink too much. You'll keep it vegan. I'm gonna experiment. I'm gonna experiment and look for some vegan ham.
There are some. Field roast makes a good vegan roast. Field roast.
Okay.
And then we'll get some vegan cheese to you. All right, man. There he goes, my friend Daniel Phil Gonzalez, Asian American Studies Professor Emeritus, San Francisco State College of Ethnic Studies. We like talking to him. I like talking to him. I like talking to Dan. I'll share that picture someday of Dan and I when we were young pups, and now we're like we're guys who have a lot of opinions. Clearly. If you missed any or all of our discussion, use your finger, scroll back wherever you're watching. YouTube, X. We're on X. I know we're on X. I know there's people on X watching us. Facebook, fb.com/Emil Guillermo Media, Emil Amok, X at Emil Amok, YouTube at Emil Amok 1. I'll put this on Patreon if you want to catch it at your leisure. It'll be there. Hey, Merry Christmas, everyone. We'll be back probably Monday, maybe. There's something good. New Year's Eve, maybe. Well, there's no government shutdown, so everyone's gonna I guess night. I don't know. We had our laughter yoga. We end these sessions generally with a little loving kindness. Where would we be without loving kindness? And so, as I wish for me, I wish for you. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. And may you live with ease. Until next time. Emil Guillermo here.